Welcome everyone. Welcome to this very first industry talk of Go Short Online. It's a bit strange talking to a screen, but I hope you're all there. My name is Eva. I'm one of the programmers of Go Short, and I'm very happy that we were able to still do an online industry talk about the impact of the coronavirus on film talent, young film talent, because we think it's a really important subject. And I'm happy that we can discuss this with speakers from all kinds of different backgrounds. The moderator of this talk is Sanne Jehoul, and she will introduce all the speakers to you in a moment. Sanne is the co-director of Glasgow Short Film Festival, so I'm very happy that she is going to do this. Before we start, I'd like to say that this session is co-hosted by Creative Media Desk NL, which of course we are very thankful for, so thank you for that. Yeah, I think that's it. Sanne, I'd like to give the floor to you. Enjoy the talk.
Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome, and I hope everyone's safe and well to start off with. So I will introduce the speakers in a second. I just wanted to quickly explain how the format will work. So we'll have all the three speakers do a quick, do their own presentation, and we'll have a bit of a conversation with them, and then do an audience Q&A at the end of it. So in your Zoom window, you should all be able to see a Q&A option where you can put in any questions, and we will kind of filter them from there and ask them at the end of the session. Hopefully we won't run over 12:15, but we'll see how it goes. So on to our three speakers. First, we have Mila Zhluktenko, who is a filmmaker originally from Ukraine, now based in Germany, where she studies at the University of Television and Film in Munich. And she directed most recently Opera Glasses, which still has its international premiere at Go Short on the online platform in the student competition. Mila?
Hi, that's me.
Then the second speaker will be Marija Milanovic, who co-runs Lemming Film, which is a festival strategy and distribution agency in Vienna. And amongst many other things, she also has been working with Vienna Shorts for over a decade, where she now leads on the International Fiction and Doc competition, as well as the industry days.
Hello, everybody.
And then our last speaker will be Erik Glijnis, who's a Dutch producer at a production company Lemming Film, which is based in Amsterdam, which he also co-runs. Recently, they were behind Berlin Alexanderplatz, which premiered in competition at the Berlinale this year. And he was also part of the Go Short jury this year. Erik. Okay, so yeah, just again, this is fairly new for all of us, so if anything technically goes wrong, bear with us for a few minutes, but hopefully it'll all go very smoothly. So now I would like to give the word to Mila, who will talk a bit about how all of this has affected her and how she sees the situation going forward. Mila?
Thank you, Sanne. Hello, everybody. And first, thanks for organizing this talk. Thank you to Go Short. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal situation and a little bit about the situation in Germany. So as the introduction already said, I am based in Munich at the University of Television and Film. And my film Opera Glasses is my third-year project, so I have only one until I am going to graduate. It had its world premiere at Doc Leipzig, which was our first and last pre-corona crisis festival where we could meet audience and be in the cinema. And this is only our second festival, and the international premiere at Go Short. So we are distributing this film, of course, by ourselves, as it is a student film and a short film. Me and the producer, Daniel Sarifaizi, we're just submitting the films to the festivals that we already know, actually. So the strategy is kind of to go through the festivals where we have already been, or where we would like to show the film maybe, or festivals that we would like to get to know. And for me, it's going like submitting the film to a lot of festivals where my previous film, Fine Fix Finish, was screened. So yeah, so we tried to follow that kind of strategy. And yeah, there's the film, a little bit about the film. I'm going to show you like a little excerpt of, so that you have an impression of what the film is like. It's documentary, 24 minutes long, and it's about the atmosphere in an opera house in Kiev, where I'm from, and where I was as a kid lots of times. And I shot this film 2 years ago. Yes, and it's about the workers and the audiences, so not about the people on the stage. So I'm going to show you a little excerpt, and I hope it's going to work.
Потом был Хрущев лысый, потом был Брежнев волосатый, потом был Андропов лысый, потом был Черненко волосатый, потом был Горбачев лысый, потом был Ельцин волосатый. Вот сейчас Путин лысоватый. Вот у них все время получается меняется. Алло. Пока он еще 20 лет просидит на троне, то он уже просидит окончательно. Does everyone hear me? Ah, okay. Sorry. Okay. Good. So yeah, that's what that was, a little excerpt from the film. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit of about the situation of the German filmmakers, and maybe especially in Bavaria, because we have this federal system, and in different states we have different situations for filmmakers. So there has been some financial aid for freelancers, but it was bound to the and to your expenses, kind of. So if you have an office that you're paying for, or for example a car, you can get the Corona financial aid. And if not, then you cannot ask for it to pay your rent, kind of, or your food. So that was a problem, and now there are several people in the culture fighting for that to be changed. But for now, the situation for example, actors, directors, and DOPs is not very good in this aspect of financial aid from the state. The biggest institutions, of course, are being funded really well in Germany, but like for the smaller artists, they don't have a plan really how to finance them and sustain them. And for the cinemas, like what I see in Munich is that the smaller cinemas have a chance of surviving. They have a lot of donations and they don't have that much expenses. They are being also most of the time state funded. So we hope that they will survive the crisis also. for my personal situation, I'm in a lucky situation for like being a student still, and I have a governmental scholarship which covers my expenses. So I'm really lucky to be still in the scholarship in this semester, and having this this program that is supporting me. And the effects on my own work is that, of course, we can in Bavaria we cannot shoot at all. Like for now, all shooting has been blocked. So what I am doing currently is buying books and reading and writing down ideas, like very background working. And what I also can do, and what is a positive aspect about the corona, is that we all have a lot of time that we are spending at home now. So I have a project where I am a script advisor for a film in Ukraine, which will be a hybrid documentary about the MH17 plane downing, which was in the eastern part of Ukraine. And I'm working on this project with my friends from Kiev. So before, it was really difficult working over the borders internationally together and meeting in a really good, not having a lot of time passed by, but meeting really often and talking about the project. And for now, it's working really well. Like we are making a lot of progress on that. And I think maybe this is also the chance for the future, that we can now kind of practice this international work and using more the means of the internet, because I have the feeling that before we didn't do it that much, and we had all the feeling it's not that effective and we have to meet kind of, but now it's working really well. So I hope this will be a positive thing to take from the situation right now. And as a little thing now concerning the distribution of the film. So now we are still submitting, but not submitting to festivals that have big screening, big submission fees. Of course, because nobody knows whether it will take place or not. We are a little bit concerned about the rules of premiere statuses and how this will go on with festivals. And also about the copyright, because my film, for example, has the copyright from 2019. And I'm not sure if festivals will want to program a film, for example, in 2021 with copyright of 2019. So we will have to see how this will turn out. So we, of course, we all are missing meeting people and being in the cinema and meeting audiences. But we're really happy that festivals like Go Short go online and give some kind of contact to people for the film and some kind of possibility to present our work, because as you all may know, it's really hard for after 2 years working on a piece to see it kind of die on your hard drive. So it's really good to have this possibility. And I hope that we can take things that we are practicing right now or trying out right now, the experiences from online festivals into the future. And of course, I hope that we will meet again in cinemas, but maybe there will be some, I don't know, concepts of having films online and showing them in the cinemas in the future. So this is kind of the things that I hope will be positive after this experiences. Yeah, so I think that's it for me for now, and thank you for listening, and I will pass on to Sanne again.
Thank you, Mila. It's also really interesting. I was wondering when you were saying about obviously your course and you've got one more project to do. Have you been speaking at all to sort of people that are in your course or in similar situations? Or if there's any maybe even advice coming from institutions or elsewhere about how people could adapt or what they could be doing?
I have the feeling that for now everyone is afraid of making any giving advice or saying anything. Like our university is just trying to make some seminars on Zoom, but furthermore they don't really yeah, they just encourage us to wait and that everything is gonna be all right, but they don't give really advices on what to do right now. So we are kind of trying to exchange in between the students, but there is no actual advice or talking with the institution of the university about the situation at the time.
So you also don't know, for example, if the duration of your course changes, or if people get certain extensions, or there's no.
They didn't say anything about that. So we hope that they will prolong the normal studying time for at least one semester, but it hasn't been decided yet. So they try to not make us hope for anything, I guess. And that's why they just tell us to wait. And actually, it's like you have the feeling that the university is frozen. It's just on pause. Mm-hmm. And maybe something is happening inside, but we as students don't have the feeling that we know what is being discussed between the people. Yeah.
And so you're saying that you're still submitting with this film as well, which, I mean, it's obviously lovely, but how do you feel about the idea that it might be presented online for quite a long time to come? Like, how is sort of your feeling about online reception of your film?
I'm not really sure, because you don't have this connection. Like, you don't know how many people were there to watch it and what do they think. I saw that Doku Days made this. They made like also an online festival, and where audiences could shoot themselves and ask questions. So maybe that's an interesting thing to think about for festivals to come for the future, where you could communicate through that. Like, if you watch the film, then you just ask the questions, and then the director can also answer through a video that they are shooting, and comment to the exchange. But for now, I don't. I'm not sure how it will go, because you have the feeling the film is somewhere and someone is watching it, but it's really very abstract in a way. Yeah, but
you don't. No, continue. Sorry.
No.
But you don't. You feel quite okay about your film being presented in that way, or do you have a feeling that at some point maybe it needs to be thought about differently in terms of fees, even?
Actually, I'm really not sure yet, because well, I was afraid that it wouldn't be shown at all this year, so I'm kind of happy that there is a possibility. Well, I don't know. It's just a feeling of missing the real meeting, but I try to see the positive outcome, and that the film is at least presented online. Although I'm not sure, for example, if my film is a good film for online watching. Like, it's yeah, some films are really more difficult to watch at home on your laptop screen, and I can imagine that people would stop watching maybe earlier, or switch to another film, or yeah, if you are telling your story in a slow way, it's a big question how it's going to work online.
Yeah, of course. Okay, well, thank you. I would also want to say to the audience that if you have any questions for Mila at the moment, then put them in the Q&A box and we will get to them at the end of the conversation. And then I would like to pass over to Marija now.
Thank you, Sanne. Yes, I think you already mentioned the most important things. I'm with Vienna Shorts, and I'm also a distributor with Lemming Films. And I prepared a small presentation. It is kind of like a red line for me, but I will probably jump and be quite chaotic. But yeah, this whole Zoom thing is quite new for me, so I will try my best to stick with it. I have to say that this presentation is really a practical approach based on what we as distributor experienced over the last couple of weeks, but also what we discussed with our fellow distributors, and those things, what I summarized up here, is kind of feedback and input from them as well. So let me see if this works. Okay, can you see the, yes, you can see the presentation. Okay, so just some quick more info about Lemonade Films. We are an agency for festival strategies and distribution, and we are only working with Austrian short fiction, documentary, VR films up to 30 minutes, and mixed media projects, which is basically performances and installations or dome screenings, everything like that, but it's kind of expanded cinema. We have a very small catalog. Every year we take in between 10 and 15 projects. What we offer is we are doing submissions to festivals based on a festival strategy which we develop and which contains between 180 and 200 festivals. It depends a little bit. With this strategy, we also, of course, take care of all the premieres and everything else what is necessary. We don't do sales, so everything what is connected to sales, we try to help out with the filmmakers to connect them, but we don't do it ourselves. We take over the promotion of the films as best as we can. So we promote them on our website, on social media. We have a catalog, which we then also bring along to the markets and festivals and events we are going. We are handling all the materials like stills and the dialogue lists. And we also take care to distribute the screening copies if films are selected. And last but not least, we also discuss the screening fees with festivals for our films. Yeah, I think I will just directly jump into the catastrophe itself. In March 2020, the situation was like that we had 5 films with which we just started working. So we had 2 films which premiered in January and February. In January, it was The Verdict in the Case of K by Özgür Anil, which premiered in Premier Plan. In February, we had How to Disappear by Total Refusal, which premiered in the Berlinale Shorts. And then we had also 3 films which had selection for a world premiere for in March. And we had 2 films in post-production. At this point, we also had over 50 selections for national and international film festivals from March to May. And I think it was mid-March when the Austrian government announced their plan of action against the fight of the coronavirus. And the most important thing for us, what was announced, was that all events with more than 100 people had to be cancelled or were not allowed. And these measures were set up to the first week of April. But how should I say, it was quite clear that at this point, it won't only be until beginning of April. It will take much longer. And festivals also started immediately to react to that. So it happened really everything very fast. We got contacted by WhatsApp, by email, by phone calls. It was really this insecurity what filmmakers especially also had, because they didn't know what is going to happen with their films. Festivals, especially those which just were about to begin, didn't have much options. I think a lot of them had to cancel because they were just not prepared for anything else. So didn't have the option. Some postponed, and other ones decided to go online, to do an online edition. For us, this meant that we immediately had to evaluate all of our projects. We had to really look into which national premieres have we confirmed, what is the status of each project, and what are our next steps going to be. And also, of course, in discussion with the filmmakers and what they wanted to do, we decided that with the films which already premiered, we will continue, because they, of course, also had already submissions lined up. So there was not much you could do about. You had to continue. The films which were about to premiere were mostly, all of them were already announced as well. So the festivals announced the program, they were out there. And as the festivals which were coming next offered a context and setting of an online premiere, which was really, really good, we decided to agree on that and also to continue with those films. What was a little bit tricky and problematic was the fact what to do with the films which were just in post-production. Should we start to submit them in 2020, or should we just postpone it until next year? For now, we decided that we will aim for festivals maybe in late summer or autumn, and then we will see from there. So for those films, nothing is decided yet in the end. Yeah, based on this evaluation and also on this information we had from our films and the festivals we were in contact for the next screenings, we made decisions. And these decisions were made to basically really protect our projects as best as possible, because as Mila also said before, nobody really knew what is going to happen. Nobody knew how long this will last and how it will change the festival landscape in general. So we decided that our films can be considered for online festivals if the festivals show them geo-blocked and in a protected environment, which means that of course they make sure that it's not downloadable, they have maybe an even platform, a hub, whatever. If a festival also decides that they are continuing their competitions and that they are offering their awards, this is even more appreciated, because I think it is very difficult for independent artists to survive in this kind of times where you don't have a regular income, and award money can help with that a lot. And then, of course, if there's a Q&A option or an option to introduce your film, this is also very much welcome. To summarize it up, the result was that we could agree on all submissions, on all selections, of the online festivals besides one. And to be more concrete, there were 11 screenings which were cancelled and 8 which were postponed. Yes, so the transition from analog to digital, I think I have not mentioned that yet, but I will focus very much on that because cancellation and postponing is a topic as well, but right now the thing what we are dealing the most and what is also causing the most problems is definitely this online festivals and the regulations. So although we had this clear guideline what we thought and this idea of how we are going to proceed and what we are going to do, the transition was not really easy. And this is because before Corona-19, there were clear conditions on which we could hold on. You knew, I agreed to this kind of regulations. This is what it means. Maybe I don't want to agree. I had the option. I know when the festival will take place. I know where it will take place. Maybe I or the filmmakers would even also travel there. So when then suddenly this transformation into the online formats came, it became sometimes kind of a wild, wild west. So all the regulations, what we, when we submitted, agreed on, kind of became not valid anymore or transformed into something completely different. What caused, of course, again, a lot of discussions and fear also with the filmmakers, because they didn't know how to read it and what it will mean for the future. But I will quickly point out the offers, what we got for online festivals, what were the most common offers. It was to be presented geo-blocked or worldwide, to be free for everybody or with a paywall, that people had to buy a festival pass or a ticket. It was with unlimited number of screenings, or maybe only one screening with one time slot. It was with a limited number of seats, or even with live screenings, for example, on Facebook, where people then also could directly reply and ask questions to directors and to team members. Sometimes also the durations of the festivals changed. So some festivals decided to be shorter, some decided to be longer. This in general was not the problem. It was really more about the context and the conditions they offered. So what caused then a bigger problem in the next step was that some festivals were constantly changing the regulations. And For example, we had just recently the case, we got selected for a festival. About the selection, we were very, very happy. We confirmed during a period when Corona-19, it was not clear what it will mean, but we knew the festival as planned won't happen, but there will be an alternative. So we find out online that there will be an online edition of the festival. It was not communicated directly to us. We got into the discussion how the conditions and regulations will be. We finally agreed on a worldwide screening for industry. We signed that. 2 days later, the festival decided to make out of worldwide for industry, worldwide for everybody. And the most frustrating part about this was that we could not discuss this. Although this long period of preparations, talking, explaining yourself why it is important for us because of the other national premieres, etc., the only option was that we had to leave the competition, what also in the end happened. So we are not part of the competition anymore, and this festival selection is not valid anymore. So it feels kind of a little bit really disappointing as well, because again, I mean, as a distributor or filmmaker or producer, you have to go by the rules of the festivals. When it comes to the regulations, you obviously don't have a say. And this is really, yeah, disappointing and causes also a lot of other questions. Because there's this one sentence, what I heard really very often, which was, we need to be more flexible and show understanding. I agree. But then I have also to ask, what does this mean for festivals? If festivals expect us to agree on screenings and conditions, you should also think that they should be flexible about their premiere requirements, about submission fees, about everything what is also related to the screening in the end, and what is important for the filmmaker, so the people who are offering the film. This means also that we had also the case, for example, that this was from a fellow distributor. A film was selected for a festival which requires national premiere. The festival got postponed and they didn't announce the new dates of the festival. Meanwhile, other festivals from the same country selected the film, but the first festival which postponed is now still requiring the national premiere. So this is definitely for me a case of, okay, this being flexible and understanding is not working in a balanced form and way. Festivals sometimes just don't realize that they're also part of a bigger short film ecosystem and that they also would have to follow some rules so that we can keep this alive, especially in times of Corona-19. It would be very much appreciated if festivals also think of the consequences of their regulation and their requirements for the upcoming other festivals, because of course the event of a festival, online festival, we take part within a period of a couple of days. But for filmmakers, this means they're just starting now their festival career. There's a lot coming after that for them, hopefully. And they also need to be prepared for what can they expect. So one question is definitely also what Mila said before, premieres. What does a national premiere mean in time of COVID-19? Does a worldwide screening at another festival excludes me from participating then in your festival? What about the festivals which published their selection but didn't take place? We had it, for example, now a case in Spain. We got a selection for a festival which requires a national premiere. They had to cancel. They announced the program, but didn't take place. The other festivals which require in Spain a national premiere are going to accept this film because it was not screened anywhere. And if yes, under what conditions are you going to accept it? Excuse me. So also the question about the submission fee. If you decide to cancel your festival, what does this mean? Are you going to refund the fee? Are you going to consider the submission for next year? All these things are out there, all these questions are out there, but there are not really answers to that. And so I started asking those questions to festivals directly. I really started typing individual emails to everybody asking, this is what's going on. Can you tell me what your status is? And unfortunately, I still get the reply, we don't know if we are going to accept it. We don't know yet. So I do wonder what are we waiting for? Because now we had already a couple of festivals which have taken place online. We are in the middle of one right now at this moment. We know different models. We know that films have been screened worldwide, films have been screened geo-blocked. So we cannot continue publishing submitting regulations in the old system, because obviously we have to consider that the rules in this last couple of weeks and also in the upcoming future are different, because films have been screened worldwide and internationally. Are you going to exclude them or not? This is something, I mean, sometimes when I go on the submission platforms, I have the feeling that the festivals which are coming, I'm now talking really about the festivals which are going to be in future, in summer or in autumn. Those festivals which happened already, I mean, this is clear that we can't do anything about it. But for those in future, if you already copy paste your regulations from last year, then you should also add the additional information about what is your plan B? Because for me now, as Mila also said, I do have my hesitation submitting to a festival with high submission fees if I don't know for what I'm actually paying for. So this is why I think that it is time for action and it is not too late. I really would appreciate if festivals become more proactive in communication, and with that, I mean not telling us that you are working on something else besides the planned festival. We know that it is a stressful time, and we know that it won't be easy to realize a festival in these times. But then please remind yourself that this, what happened so far, also has to be considered in future submissions and communicated to us. There are multiple options how you can do it, just a post on social media, on the website. I mean, I also think that submission platforms such as Short Film Depot or Fest Home could also encourage their members, or make them more aware of the situation, that they maybe should think of that to adapt their regulations so that the filmmakers just know what is going to happen. And also, for example, I have here written down cancellation, and if you cannot agree on an online screening, would it then at least be possible to submit next year? If this is not the context that works, then let's try next year. I think that a lot of really good work was already done by associations of festivals, like for example, a Short Film Conference or Film Festival Alliance, who are organizing also talks and discussions about what is going on right now. But I also think that maybe now is the time to go a step further and also recommend maybe to the members, to the festivals, to think about these questions as well, and to motivate the festivals to publish a statement, to react. Because it is really frustrating to continue in this form, in this way, with not really knowing what is going to happen. And one example is, there is an example in the US, it is called the 2020 Film Festival Survival Pledge. I'm not saying that this is how it should be, it is just the first example of what happened so far. So this is the presentation. I hope I said everything, but yeah, I will stop this quickly and give back to Sanne.
Thank you, Marija. That was great. I think you've covered everything and a lot more. I'm just aware of the time, so I'm going to come back to you later with audience questions, and I might just now move on to Erik. Erik, can you unmute? Yeah, okay. Do you want to continue? We cannot hear you.
And how
yeah.
about me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so good morning. I hope that you all saw me when saying good morning. If not, then here I am. I'm Erik. I'm a producer and I work from the Amsterdam-based production company called Lemming Film. And we are a production company existing for 25 years. And I think we are now with 11 people. We focus on feature films and television series. Shorts we do not so much. We did in the past, but not anymore. Regularly, we shoot 2 majority features a year, 2 minority feature, and about 1 television series. And I'm just going to briefly show you our website. So I hope you can see now. This is the film productions that we that we did, and I'm going to tell you a little bit on how Corona affected the way I'm working, or we are working in the company. Basically, it's quite hard with so many people, with 11 people, to work in a focused way and in order to continue your current slate. So for 2020, actually, we had a lot of films in our slate that were to be released. I had 7 feature films which were supposed to be released, and these were other-driven films, which means that we would aim for a world premiere and from there go into a national release or worldwide release. And 3 of them were majority productions and 4 of them were minority productions. And the only production that went to be released so far is Berlin Alexanderplatz, which was mentioned in the introduction, that went to the Berlinale and screened in competition. It was supposed to be followed after the Lolas. They won 5 Lolas last Friday to have a cinema release in April, but of course that is cancelled and postponed, or not cancelled, it is postponed. And we are awaiting the local release in order to follow with our national release of that film. As for the other films, I think a lot of things have been said about the festivals. For me, I'm more waiting. What I'm trying to do is keep submitting to the bigger festivals to aim for a premiere. So focusing on the premiere festivals, and we are asking a lot of waivers. So I'm working with sales agent and our local film commission, and we are asking waivers from the A-list festivals in order to freely submit our festivals in order not to spend high amounts on festival submissions. And I'm not sure, now we're mainly focused on the autumn festivals, but I'm not really sure if they're going to happen. So we're just waiting and pushing our releases after we had a festival premiere. So yeah, for me, it's just finishing the films and waiting in order to be able to premiere them, and then we're going to release them. So that's a little bit on, for me, on the distribution. As so much has been said, I would like to focus a little more on what we are doing in the meantime, because of course there's also difficulties in shooting. For this year, we were supposed to shoot 1 majority film, 2 minority co-productions and 2 television series. And so far we have not shot anything. 2 films, one, the minority ones is 1 Chinese film and a Mexican film. They are both pushed to next year. Same goes for 1 television series of ours, which is supposed to be shot in Latvia. So the only things we still have hope for doing this year is a minority film, which is listed here, which is The Photo Camera, which is a feature film by Sam de Jong. I'll stop sharing so you guys can get back to my face. It's a Dutch feature film to be shot in the Netherlands with Dutch talents. Sam has had several shorts that go short, and he had shorts in competition in Berlinale, and his first 2 feature films went to screen at Tribeca and Berlinale Generation, and this will be his 3rd feature. And I'm now really focused on shooting that film, and I'm aiming now to start mid-July. But I'm really not sure, because there are several things to keep in consideration on that. Basically, of course, there's the government who will allow us to shoot that film this summer. I mean, events are cancelled in the Netherlands until the 1st of September. So no one is really sure when it will be allowed to shoot a film again. Then we have insurance questions. If we can insure the film or arrange the insurance, which is quite complicated because the insurance will not agree with an inclusion of Corona. So it's very difficult to set up a film production and taking the risk as a producer. So we're trying to, I know that the insurance companies are talking with our national fund, who are actually really helping us out in order to proceed with shooting. And then there's the crew and cast. And the problem is that every shoot that was supposed to happen before summer is now pushing backwards. So everyone is aiming at the same position to shoot a film. So my DOP has several other projects, the cast we are looking for. And what's a bit of a problem now is that just everyone is keeping their options open. So because it's not clear when we can start shooting, when everything is opening up, we are totally, we're just calling every week and just being in touch with each other in order to proceed and to talk with each other. And what I'm seeing now is that because we're going to shoot near Amsterdam, so we can travel by bike, is that we have a small production. We are not working with actors from like 70 plus in age. So I think what I'm feeling now is that we are going to be one of the first to be shooting a film. And you also see it in our productions that the more local the productions are, the more likely they are going to proceed. So we're shooting a local film and a stop motion animation television series because it's less people and it's easier, and we're not flying around people. So that is my hope, that we can start shooting on that, because of course as a producer it's tough to not be making films, but it's the same for the crew and cast and everyone involved in film shooting. So at this moment, I know that there's a lot of parties in the Netherlands who are writing codes of conduct in order, if we're going to shoot, how we're going to work. You have to think for each department how you're going to set up a way of working, even for grip, even for if someone goes to the toilet, you have to clean the toilet afterwards. You have to think of replacements. There's a lot to think about. But what you see at the moment is that everyone is working together in order to find a way to make that work. And I think I would be more than happy with our film to be like also a test case in order to share how we're going to do it, and from there, learn. In the meantime, so everything got pushed basically, and what we are doing in the meantime is basically focusing on developments and doing some work on our loose ends, like reporting, delivering stuff in order to finish work that we had to do anyway. But I think the focus on development is definitely a positive thing, that we have the time to really dive into our projects and work with talent in order to, get projects developed, and we are still able to apply in the Netherlands. And that way we are still, working and keeping it going, although it's difficult. It's not possible in the Netherlands to be living as a producer from our development fees. So that's the balance we have to find out. But that's what we're doing together. And together, I mean also with, as said, that the Dutch Film Fund, the distribution, like the whole chain of Dutch film industry is working together into keeping each other up, which is a good thing to see. And I thought a little bit about opportunities, and of course there's a lot of obvious things to say, but what came to me is that what I said about working locally, and that would be the first productions to start up, also offers the opportunity maybe that there will be, there will be gaps in cinemas when they open up again. No one knows when they're opening up and if people actually are going to attend, but maybe there's a possibility to you know, to go in there with a lot of local content and to compete with the big American industries, etc., in order to have our smaller local made films out there. So let's see. I think it's a very interesting time which is ahead, and we have always shown that we are very flexible and adaptable industry. Although Marija had her questions on if everyone is being flexible. Agreed, totally agreed. But let's see. I think we all have to make the most out of it. And I think that's a little bit on a very quick introduction overall, like our development, production, and distribution of our projects from my side. And maybe I'll give it to you, Sanne, in order to, if you want to zoom in on anything of that.
Yeah, thank you, Erik. I actually wanted to just kind of pick up on, because you're obviously talking about the idea like when things can be released, and what your conversations have been about potentially releasing films immediately online, because obviously what you've been saying is you know, in terms of feature films, has been kind of said that because a lot of the really big studio productions are going to be pushed back until cinemas are open again, that maybe online creates space for audiences to interact with independent work that they may have not interacted with in the past. So are you kind of considering that at all?
Yeah,
or?
but with one film we are, but like I said, that then we are investigating. That's a feature film which is with Trust Nordisk. They are the sales agent, so it's basically a talk we're doing together. And obviously, you want to label such a film before selling it even worldwide to an online platform. So that was our first route, but it's all depending on how long it's going to take in order to reopen with festivals. And I think that's basically what I meant with everyone is keeping everything open. If a big if Netflix comes, let's say, and they are really interested in a film, for sure we'll take it in consideration by going out there globally. It's just depending on the opportunities that are there. I think we're, like everyone else, we're keeping everything open. But the initial thought, all of these films have been developed for 7 years or something like that. Our projects take really a long time in order to get there. I shot a feature film in Taiwan last year, and we started that film in 2011, even before I was at Lemming Film. And now it's to be released. And, you know, if you have worked so long and so hard, it's obviously your dream to follow the classical way of premiering, going into cinemas, and then, you know, having everything. But let's say if a lot of people are going to see it worldwide on their computer, that's also something. So let's see.
And then I was wanted to say, in terms of the kind of freelance crew you work with, how has that been going in terms of, you're saying, you know, everyone keeps their options open, but in terms of security at the moment, or being able to, is there any way for you to kind of help them adapt, or do you see a lot of initiatives for that?
Well, we try to help as much as possible with invoicing on projects, you know, like the installments, and everyone is, that's also a thing. What you see, what's happening, everyone is collecting money. We have money from China, from Greece, you know, all our productions are everywhere. So that's a difficult thing. And crew is collecting money at our side. And we try to be flexible in that and push through. But we don't have we are an independent in that sense, where we don't have the bank account in order to cash flow loans to crew or something. But luckily, like I said, the Dutch government and the Film Fund have set up, and even Netflix jumped in on that. They have set up, although still not everything is clear on that, but it is clear that all employees in the Netherlands are helped, and there's also extra money coming from the government to help the audiovisual industry. And for sure, it's never going to be like what they would normally earn on the shoots. But everyone is focused on keeping the industry alive.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to some of the audience questions now in order of conversation. Mila, someone's asking if you are thinking of maybe starting new projects that deal with the current crisis, whether that's in terms of the topic theme, or whether it's about safer ways of shooting and producing stuff.
Thank you. So rather the second one, because we had maybe like everyone right now, when you're talking to colleagues or to friends who are filmmakers, it's always like this joke about making a film about crazy stuff that is happening right now. But on a second thought, it seems always like a bad idea. So I'm not planning on a project that will deal with the situation which is right now, like at the time. But we are thinking a lot how it can work, for example, in a student environment to shoot a film during Corona, because we have, of course, limited financial and organizatory a means to ensure a safe shoot. So it's really difficult, and we still don't know how it can work. I think it is more real to do it in a small documentary setting, and to ensure security there if you have a small crew. But with the bigger crews, you know, student films are already a bit chaotic and have this spontaneous flow. So I think it's going to be really hard to push it into this safety environment and to really ensure everything being secure and masks being provided and things being disinfected. So yeah, we're thinking a lot about that. Yeah, and this is rather the thing that we are discussing right now.
You said you had, you know, earlier you said you were script advising on a film in Ukraine. Do they have a kind of optimistic timeline for that?
Yeah, it's really weird too, because Ukraine is moving in a really chaotic way through this Corona time. They don't have this straight regulations from government. Plus there have been the forests burning. I think you maybe heard near Chernobyl. So people are really right now in a really unsecure situation, and they have even less help from government. We're still planning what we're going to shoot when it's allowed, and this project has been funded by the Ukraine government cinema fund. So they have still budget to shoot the rest of the scenes, because it will be composed out of archival footage and footage that they're shooting like in a fictional way. But we still don't know when and how it's going to be. So it's all theoretical at the time, and they hope to shoot in autumn. And as Erik already said, it's accumulating, kind of. All the projects are accumulating in one space of time. Like everyone's hoping for autumn to be the relieving time. So yeah, for now they're planning to shoot in autumn, but nobody is sure that it's going to happen. But what I can say about Ukrainian style of shooting, they are really more spontaneous than us in Europe. Sometimes they plan something in a week, and then boom, boom, they're at the shooting space and they have everything prepared. So I expect them to finish the project like until the end of 2020, because I think they're kind of, I don't know, they get very quickly very active and shoot very quickly. So I think it's going to work. Yeah.
Okay. I will move on to a question for Marija. Obviously, you've sort of addressed quite a lot of this, but someone's asking about premiere requirements, whether you think it might even be possible to create a divide or a separation between online and theatrical premieres in the future, or whether that's an option you think is viable.
Well, I think there are obviously films which maybe would fit better in an online context, or would also fit in an online context, not only in a cinema context. And I think that a lot of festivals, probably after investing so much time and preparation in their online editions and online hubs and all the options they had, I can imagine that they will continue working with that in a way. But for now, I think that the future still is to aiming to be presented in a cinema, to go back to have an audience, to have really the personal interaction. I mean, of course, we don't know when this will be possible as we know it. But a long-term thinking, I think that this is the aim.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was also, I would just want to follow up on something you'd mentioned about, obviously, all the ways in that festivals kind of need to respond and provide clarity. I guess because Mila brought this up as well, this idea of maybe changing the kind of production completion date criteria and all that kind of stuff. And I was wondering what you think of that, but also how, I guess it's sort of, has an effect on how you're expanding your slate going forward.
Do you mean for the projects we're working now, or for the?
Yeah, and just how, you know, if you would want to pick up any new films for the future, like how you're sort of looking at things that are in production, or.
Yeah, I mean, we do still get films offered, and some are in post-production, some are finished. So with us, it's also a little bit different because as we are really a small organization, we have to be very selective anyways with the films. And if there would be a film now, which we really like a lot, we of course would take it in. And then we would just have to see, as it is also with those which are in post-production or just finished now, that we really just have to see also what the directors want, what is the aim for their project. I mean, if they really want to go online immediately, then okay, why not? But this has really to be discussed individually with every project.
Have you had any filmmakers that were sort of maybe not happy or quite skeptical about getting online?
I think in the really first days of when this started, everybody was skeptical. We were skeptical. I'm a very skeptical person. I still am also about what the impact will be of all these online screenings, what we are doing. And yeah, I try to kind of understand the system now. As I said before, I mean, there was the period of observation. We have some models. We know we went through different concepts, and I just would like now to start the discussion into the future. To what can we actually do to have safety for all of us, kind of for the festivals, for filmmakers, for distributors, because right now that. Like nobody really knows and doesn't want to make decisions, won't help. So I think it would just make life easier for all of us if we start acting.
Yeah. Thank you. So there's a question, it sort of says a question for all panelists, but mainly for Erik. Do you think there will be a problematic depression in particularly in short film production, but also production in general, coming later this year and next year? And how can we plan ahead on that? Erik, if you want to maybe go first.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm not so sure about next year. I don't know. No one knows. That's basically what I said. And I think, I mean, there are commercials being shot right now. Films are being made, and I think it's more. I think the smaller productions can go faster, and I think everything will start, but no one can tell when we're actually shooting like normal again. I think I've been thinking a lot about shooting over the last weeks and writing and reading everything that's coming online on how to shoot. And I think you can prevent a lot, mainly with your crew. The main problem is just going to be how you're going to handle actors and how are they going to act, and extras and everything you're going to put on screen and what people need to see. You can't keep distance in the background if you're filming with crowd and these kind of things. So there's the only inevitable problem, I would say, in making films and keeping distance. But like I said, I'm quite hopeful that we will be shooting a film, I think with 25 people, with the right precautions, I would say, in order to make it happen in the right way this summer or fall, but who knows. I think for short films, it could even be that that's a feature film. For short films, I would say the smaller, the less amount of days, the smaller the size, the faster you are able to shoot, I would say. That seems like the logical thing, but yeah, I think maybe it's going to be country depending, maybe it's going to be Yeah, but maybe that answers the question a little bit. But that's, I think, how I see it. But let's see what's going to happen in the next weeks, at least in the Netherlands here.
Mm-hmm. Anyone, Marija or Mila, do you want to comment on that at all? I'll see if you. Hold on, we'll move on. Erik, there's another question for you about, because you mentioned the film funds, the Dutch film funds. Are they giving you an extension for the delivery date of your films?
Yeah. For each film, we can report any additional costs that are caused by Corona, and they're more flexible in payment terms, getting credit for them in order to cover bank loans for the extended delivery date. And so they're showing, it's incredible how fast they came up with solutions in order to help us out in preventing that. So yes, we have extensions on delivery dates.
Okay. And then there's one more question for you about how all of this might impact your international strategies at all.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the core of Lemming Film is basically each project we do, almost every project we do is internationally orientated. I just think in terms of the release, that will not be different, whether it's through VOD, through theatrical release or festivals. I think the focus will be to find an audience worldwide. That will be the same. The only thing will be the production. Like, for example, we are planning a Chinese film with 80 shooting days in China with people from 3 different continents, basically. And you're just not sure when it's going to happen. But I'm quite positive that at some point it's going to happen again. For now, I think with us, it takes 2 years to develop a film at least before we start shooting it. So we are now focusing on developing new things in order to be ready when the world is opening up in that sense. So we're not more focused now on making local content. We're now more thinking, oh, our project that we have now, can we think more locally? Can we find a way to make it work in the current situation? Mm-hmm. But the long-term strategy until now has not changed.
Cool, thank you. Mila and Marija, there's a question for you about whether you vote to continue with festivals offering both a physical screening but continue for online screenings as well. So I guess doing them sort of as a parallel. Marija, I don't know if you want to go first on that, maybe.
Wait, I'm trying to understand the question. So that there's a screening, analog and the digital screening, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I mean, again, it depends on the conditions of the online screening as well. And also, again, the biggest problem right now is that I just don't know. I'm keeping like films back. I'm still requesting the geo-block because I try to kind of keep my project safe for the future festivals. As long as I don't know how festivals, which still require their premieres, etc., are going to continue. I mean, of course, I do try my best to now write everybody individually and to check it out, but it is just a lot of work. So I really would have to look into that, and also what it means for the concrete film the festival would like to screen. Where has it been screened, and what is coming next? And but generally, we would be open for that, of course. Yes.
Mila, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say depending on the conditions, but in general, it would be a really cool thing, because if I imagine at bigger festivals where I can't go, and if there would be an option to watch films that you normally couldn't watch, it's always good, but it would have to be really thought through and, as Marija said, protected for the filmmakers and for the right keepers and producers. So yeah, in generally.
Yeah, and what I maybe can add to that as well, what I mean, short films don't really have this kind of a commercial career as features have, as Erik said before, you have a plan, you probably have everything set quite ahead, you have different big players on board, decisions are kind of made differently. And with short films, it is basically the festivals and short film festivals are the main platform to release them or to distribute them. So, but still there are also some films which are connected with a sales agent. We also have one film, for example. I mean, the sales agents also have contracts with TV stations, VOD platforms. I mean, I cannot just now throw everything overboard and decide like, yeah, we are going online for like this long time of period, whatever, everybody can watch it for free, because I also have kind of duty towards those people, and they have again a duty to the partner. So yeah, I also think this is maybe not really considered often when festivals maybe are planning something worldwide as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. There's also a question which obviously Erik has kind of mentioned, that he, for his festival submissions, has been asking waivers, and Mila was saying that, you know, she's largely only submitting to festivals that don't have huge submission fees. So I don't know if that's, so someone's asking if that's maybe a consideration as well, like if you're asking for waivers, or if you're trying to come up, if it's a negotiation with festivals, considering that everyone's obviously financially hit by this, like how that is affecting you as a distributor.
Is this for me?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Well, the thing is, as mentioned in the beginning, when I do my strategy, I already kind of have an overview of how much, like I have an amount. We usually spend between 500 and 600 euros in submission fees. Or if it's less, then we agree differently with the filmmakers. But yeah, I know what my amount of money is, what I have, and I have the list of festivals where I want to submit, and I know what they want to charge. And I know festivals which also offer waivers to me, and where I know that I can submit for free. I kind of have already the calculation and overview. So the festivals where we do request often waivers is mostly American festivals, because compared to Europe, they just have a much higher submission fee. And it is sometimes already, I don't know, with 4 or 5 festivals in the US, you could cover half of your budget for submissions. And then, yeah, it is also often a discussion. Sometimes we also just don't get the waivers, and then we don't submit. So sometimes it's a discount what we get, and we see if it's possible to continue with that. But I don't try to ask every festival for a waiver. You know what I mean? It's more that I check where it makes sense to submit, because I also think that the festival where I want to submit fits for the film, mm-hmm. So they would also get something out of it. And then, yeah, this is the way how we're doing it.
Thank you. So we're going to wrap up quite soon. There's one more question that's come in, which is a funny one to end on probably. And all of you can comment on this. Someone's asking, how would you feel about films being screened outdoors? So, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the return of the drive-in in Corona times. So I don't know if there's anyone has any comments on that. Obviously, plenty of festivals do similar things as well.
Yeah.
Well, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Erik, if you want to go first. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think I've seen it online on the social media. The requests on it. I think it's an interesting idea. I think if there's a good model about it, and in order to protect, you have to think it through. But in general, I would say every way of getting people to enjoy a film together, safe in these times, and maybe the return of the drive-in. I'm happy about that.
Okay. Marija?
Yeah, I think also I could consider it for some of our films, for example, but then it would be also the question how they would, how the realization would look like also on a technical level, because I've unfortunately never been in a drive-in cinema. I would really desperately want to go. But I was just now thinking about like stuff like, do you bring your Bluetooth headphones? Do you borrow some headphones? How are they cleaned? Or do you just listen to the sound from outdoors. And yeah, so I think some films could definitely fit, others probably not.
Yeah, okay. Mila, did you have anything to?
I just know from my friends who are not filmmakers that they're desperately in need of some social, like coming together and enjoying some cultural things, and they like a lot of them tried drive-in cinemas already. So maybe the concentration in a drive-in cinema is not the highest, but at least you have a sense of community and being together. So I think for now it could be a really good thing for us to have in between in this weird situation.
Yeah, I agree. Any social contact would be welcome. But anyway, thank you very much, all three of you, for your contributions, and thank you to the audience for their questions as well. We're going to wrap up, but just for everyone to know that this entire session has been recorded, and it will be available on the Go Short online platform quite soon. So if you want to share it or watch it again, that's what it will be. Yeah, Mila, Marija, Erik, thank you very much for speaking. I hope to see you all in person very soon.
Thank you, Sanne. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanne.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.